You're listening to the Monday Night Community Show with Daniel on BRFM.
This is the Daniel Monday Night Community Show on demand through YouTube. Thank you very much for choosing to listen to us through this method. If you'd like to keep up to date with when I add new interviews, then subscribe to this channel.
Are you threatening me? Who are you? One of those that hides in the shadows thinking you're doing your bit for Queen and country? I wear a uniform, and I proclaim my allegiance to my nation and monarch. I don't feel the need to listen at keyholes.
I take your point, Sir Robert. You are, of course, correct. Business I'm in. It's an unpleasant profession, but there are those that believe it is a necessary one.
It is underhand and dishonest. My service should have nothing to do with yours.
And yet it is my service that makes yours look efficient. Or perhaps you have agents of your own in Moscow.
No, we don't. We don't do that sort of thing. We leave that to others.
Well, just as well, I think, Sir Robert. So, can I ask you to be more, shall I say, discreet in the future?
And how will I know what is discreet in the future?
I will tell you.
You will tell me?
I will inform you which missions are to be responded to and which you will let go.
You will do no such thing.
Oh, the scandal of your mistress in Brighton, who I know you see at weekends, like last weekend, in fact, will not only put an end to the gravy train you're currently on, it'll also be the end of your journey to the upper house. You'll be lucky just to keep your job. Am I clear?
I could deny the whole thing.
You could. But the photos supplied to the press offices of most of the nation's newspapers would tell a very different story.
How long?
We've had an eye on you for a while. We thought a foreign power might speak to you first, so this conversation was only ever a matter of time. And that time is now.
She's really very lovely, you know.
Yes, I would agree. Does anyone else need to know, Sir Robert? Your wife, for example? Your children? Your grandchildren?
No.
Can I take it, then, that we are in agreement?
You do not play fair, sir.
No, we do not, Sir Robert. We play to win.
And did the intercept stop?
Not entirely. If our planes had stopped meeting the Russians, it would have seemed as suspicious as when they were there every time before.
You mean it had to seem consistent?
Yes. As you know, it's the ripples in the water we look for, the out of the ordinary, the slightly odd. We had shown amazing proficiency in locating Moscow's aircraft. We now had to appear believably less efficient.
Which you did by giving Sir Robert only what he needed.
He still had his successes. We had to allow him to go to Europe as someone of importance. Our friends in NATO had to think he was worth spending time with. He'll still get his knighthood.
Then everyone is happy. No?
I have always loved to travel. I'd like to see the Statue of Liberty. I had a friend, a good friend I thought, who brought me back a small figure of it. It used to sit above my TV set, looking at me, across my living room.
You say that it used to be. What happened to it?
I noticed that one day it was not right. It had not been immediately apparent. I mean, it looked correct. The figure seemed to be good, upstanding, all I had hoped it would be. Then one day I looked at it, as if for the first time, and I noticed that something was wrong.
In what way?
For whatever reason, it no longer stood up straight anymore. Think, looking back, that it had not stood up straight for a while. It had become crooked.
I see. When do you think it became?
The small statue had made quite a journey of its own.
Really?
The friend I once thought I had picked it up, not in New York, but elsewhere.
Where do you think you visited?
Have you ever visited West Virginia? It is in America.
I believe so.
After that, the statue was never straight again.
Are you sure it's not just the way you were looking at it?
Something has happened.
Oh. Something good?
Yes.
Something London should know about?
London will be told sooner or later.
That's good to know.
Yes.
You don't have to keep me in suspense unless you want to, of course.
Have you heard of Sergei Abdulov?
Should I?
He has gone missing.
Terrible.
The Russians don't know where he is. They are frantically looking for him.
Are they?
They are most concerned.
I can only imagine.
They definitely want to know that he is well.
I would think so.
They miss him.
Must be nice to be missed.
I only hope he can be found in time, before something bad happens to him.
We've had some luck.
Oh?
A defection. Sergei Abdulov has come over to us.
Has he? When?
48 hours ago, apparently. He came via Polish intelligence. Refused to speak to them, would only talk to the British. Doesn't even want to speak to our colonial cousins across the pond. Says we are the only ones he can trust. Frightened to death that the Russians will come for him, which they will, given half a chance, I'll bet. Only we will do.
And you trust him?
Who trusts anyone these days? The important thing is that he is here to spill the beans, as it were, about the state of recent Russian planes over the Baltic and the UK. Those fools in Europe appear to have lost their edge. There was once a time when we matched the Russians plane for plane. Now our pilots are simply flying blind.
Well, surely radar picks them up and we send out our guys accordingly.
And they do. But NATO wants to know why our successful intercepts have fallen away so dramatically. You went to see that buffoon over at Defence Intelligence. What did he have to say for himself?
They had a good run, but all good runs are followed by bad ones.
Yes. Quite so.
So where does Sergei fit into all this? I'm assuming there is a connection.
His ticket to this country is the code name of the person who is responsible for our recent drop-off in efficiency.
I see. And you're sure he's not been sent by the Russians themselves to confuse us? Possibly place the blame in the wrong place?
Those of you in the field always assume that we here in London never think for ourselves, don't you?
It was only a thought.
Of course we have considered it.
Well, that's good.
And that is what you are going to find out.
I am.
You went to Poland? You were the one that met this Polish female agent. Check your notes. Did she tell you anything to help us find out who is no longer playing on our side? Find out what Sergei knows.
So you met him?
I followed my instructions.
I understand.
I asked for the meeting to be away from Vauxhall. Too many prying eyes, I felt. Even our profession has its curiosities. Attention, as you know, is the thing we most want to avoid.
I would agree.
It's quiet this far north, don't you think?
We're a long way from London, if that's what you mean.
It's another world.
We all live in different worlds, and in the same one. I remember watching some ants once, marching across the kitchen floor. I thought at the time that in their world, they are the supreme species. You know, building their colonies, going to war, gathering food, the sort of things that would be important to an ant. I watched one of them struggle with this leaf, 3 times its own size. The leaf went this way and that. It acted as a sail, threatening to turn him over onto his back. He knew his cause, and come hell or high water, he was determined to stick with it. I watched him for, a minute, I'd say. This contest between the physical weight and his will. Battle, unseen by almost anything else on the face of this planet. I quite admired him, to tell you the truth.
You recognized another dedicated to his mission.
I suppose I did.
And he finally got the leaf back to the nest, did he?
No? I got a dustpan and brush and swept him up, put him and his colleagues in the bin. You see, Their cause was not my cause, so they had to go. They served a function. To me, they were just insects.
Harsh world.
No room for pity.
Clearly.
So, this meeting.
What about it?
You were telling me you met somewhere away from the capital.
A lot of eyes and ears on the south side of the Thames.
I agree. Then, where did you meet? Come on, you can tell me. I'm not going to go shouting my math off to Lennox.
A safe house in Nottingham. Sergei was keen to be out of the capital. Go somewhere away from London. I suppose he wasn't sure who he could trust.
One knows the feeling.
Anyway, we had him put up in a small flat on the outskirts of the city.
What was he like?
Nervous, I would say.
To be expected, surely.
Yes. Perhaps he expected a member of the SVR to come in.
The Russians will want him back, or worse. They won't stop looking for him, he must know that.
I should think he does.
And it is not beyond possibility that we ourselves might have to send him back, if the need arises, say, to get back one of our own. I'm sure you didn't tell him that.
I did not tell him that, no. He might have thought that we were still the old gentlemen of the Victorian times, but if he did, I'm sure he didn't think it for long.
Have they been looking after you?
I cannot go back.
No one is suggesting that you do.
Russia would not be good for me.
Not now, it wouldn't, no.
The Kremlin does not forget such things.
I wouldn't have thought so.
They will keep looking for me.
You can make a life here.
Britain is too small. Sooner or later they would find me.
Where would you prefer to live?
Somewhere Moscow will not look for me.
The South Pole, maybe?
I am being serious. To you, this is a game, not so for me. I have placed my life on the line for your country, for your people, for the people of the West.
And we are grateful, I assure you.
You should be. My family is still in Russia.
You must make no attempt to contact them.
You think I am mad? I would not do such a thing.
Good.
They would ask for nothing. My disappearance must remain a mystery to them.
Perhaps then we could return to you. You're currently the star of the show. You're the one London is interested in right now. We know you approached Polish intelligence but refused to talk to them. They in turn have passed you on to us.
Then you know why I am here.
I'd very much like to hear it from you.
Have they not written it down for you?
I don't trust computer files, Sergei. You can never be truly sure who has access to them.
There is a rumor that the Kremlin will return to typewriters, as it is the only way to secure written materials.
Unless someone gets hold of the ribbon.
Nothing is secure these days. Are we even safe here?
I doubt the Kremlin has a spy satellite aimed at this house.
It is not the SVR that are the threat, I think.
Then who is?
It has been made known to me that the price of my staying in the West is the name of the person that has effectively brought your intercepts of Russian planes to an end. The information has been provided by contacts within the highest ranks of the Russian Air Force, but once it arrives in the UK, there is a blockage. Someone refuses to play the game, as you British say.
I see.
I provide the contact name, and I get to stay here with the Queen.
Probably not at Buckingham Palace.
And if I do not provide such a name, I may find myself on the next plane back to the east.
And you are sure you know it?
Yes.
No doubts?
No, none.
Then, will you share that knowledge with us?
Not here.
Not here? I just told you the SVR will not know for any...
I am only a messenger.
I cannot guarantee your future here if you refuse to give us what we want. Who, do you believe, is stopping the information from reaching?
An address.
An address?
Away from your cities, away from eyes and ears, you understand? After you have the name, then you can decide what you wish to do with me.
Where do we have to go?
Barrow-in-Furness. You must go alone. You will be met in a field. It will be quite secluded. No one will overhear you.